You and Dawn aren't leaving, are you? It isn't late.
Well, I think we'd better, Mrs. Turner, but we had a wonderful time. Thank you so much.
That's the trouble with going steady with a girl like Betty, Miss Turner. Mother always expects her home by 11.
Well, you come back again.
We will.
Good night.
Good night.
Kind of quiet tonight.
Uh-huh. Don.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've never felt about anyone for the way I feel about you.
Gosh, Betty, I think you're wonderful, too.
Hey, you better watch out. We're getting on the wrong side of the road.
I better pull off the road for a few minutes.
Oh, I have to be home by 11, remember? Uh-huh.
Okay. Are you sure you have to be home right away?
Why? Oh, I guess not. Not for a while, anyway.
Betty.
Let's go home, Don.
Okay. Hey, Don, boy, what's the matter? Looks like you got deep thoughts.
No, just thinking about something, Nicky, that's all. Just thinking.
Still dreaming about the little queen over in the city. Say, did Betty find you a changed man?
Hey, you come off that right now. Listen, Betty's not that kind of girl, and you remember it.
Oh, okay. Just forget I mentioned it.
Say, Nicky,
Yeah?
you know those girls in the city the other night?
Yeah.
You think they might have had something?
You bet they did. Oh, you mean... No, just forget about it, buddy. They're just a couple of good kids who want to have a little fun.
Well, I don't know, Nicky. Something happened.
What do you mean something happened?
Well, I've got some sort of sore down there.
Well, don't worry about it. It's probably just a pimple or something. The same thing happened to me, and it cleared up all by itself.
Well, maybe, but I think I ought to go see our doctor just to be sure.
Well, suit yourself. Personally, I'd just forget all about it.
Well, there they are. Take a look at this.
Is it something bad, Dr. Carlson? You know what it is?
Well, there's no doubt about what it is, Don. Those little corkscrew things are the germs of syphilis.
Syphilis. Gosh, Doctor,
Now, take it easy. It isn't the end of the world for you. We can cure syphilis, especially if we find it in the early stages, such as yours.
are you sure it's syphilis, Doctor?
The dark field examination is proof enough. We'll also run a blood test on you before you leave.
I don't know. I don't know how I got it. I haven't done anything.
Don, let's be straightforward about this. I'm not here to make a moral judgment, but you and I know that it was contracted through sexual intercourse with an infected person.
Well, I heard you could get something like this from a toilet seat or something.
About as much chance as being hit by a meteor.
What am I going to tell my dad?
The best thing is to tell him the truth. I'll talk to him if you want me to. Don, there's some things you should know about this disease of yours. Now, here we are. This is the sore you have, Don. It's called a chancre. It is usually painless. Sometimes it looks like this, and sometimes like this. When one of these appears on or around your sexual organs, you've probably got what we call primary syphilis.
Boy, pretty awful looking.
Well, now, actually, the appearance of a chancre is rather fortunate. Sometimes this sore does not appear, or is so small that you wouldn't notice it. And when that happens, the disease might go unnoticed for years.
Well, what happens if you don't find it right away?
Well, the results can be tragic in many instances. Syphilis can cripple you, blind you, destroy your brain. Of course, it may kill you eventually.
Well, you did say it could be cured, though, especially in an early case like mine.
Yes, in the stage you have, we can knock out the spirochete in a hurry.
Spirochete? What's that?
Well, that's the corkscrew-shaped thing that you saw in the microscope. Like this. These germs enter the body when you have sexual intercourse. They burrow into the skin, usually causing a chancre to appear where they entered. They work their way into the bloodstream, and the chancre on the skin disappears. Now, that happens to quite a few people who think they're all right after the sore clears up. Now, Don, I'll have to have the names of the girls you've had sexual relations with. And naturally, this is confidential.
Well, there haven't exactly been dozens. As a matter of fact, I know exactly where I got it. There is this one girl over in the city, Barbara Myers.
Well, now tell me everything you can about this girl, Don. You see, the health department over there will want to contact her to see that she's examined and treated before she gives the disease to someone else.
I'm afraid I don't know her address. As a matter of fact, I'm not even sure that's her real name.
Anybody else, Don?
No, sir. Just that one girl.
Are you being honest with me, Don?
I told you, there was this one girl over in the city. And that's it.
Now, look here, son. I've admired your courage for coming in here and facing up to the facts. But you get it through your head that you're dealing with a deadly disease, not some common cold or a case of the chicken pox. If you think you're doing some girl a favor by protecting her good name and reputation, you're wrong. You're terribly wrong.
I've said all there is to say. There is no other girl.
All right. If there's no other girl, we'll leave it at that. But before we do, I want to show you something. Now, come here. I've showed you the symptoms of syphilis as they appear in the male. Generally, the chancre appears on or around the external sex organs. Men and boys who contract syphilis have a good chance of spotting it when the danger signal appears. With a girl, however, it's not quite as easy. You see, a girl could develop a chancre way up inside, like this, and never know that she had syphilis. Of course, if she's lucky, it'll appear out in the open, like this. Now, we don't have to worry about this, do we, Don? You say there's no other girl who might have become infected by you.
Even if a girl had it and didn't know it, she'd find out, wouldn't she? I mean, there'd be other signs.
Yes. Yes, sometimes there are other signs. In the secondary stage, a few weeks or months after the primary chancre disappears, she may develop a sore throat. Patches of her hair may come out. Or her skin may break out in a rash like this. Then again, the symptoms of secondary syphilis may be so slight that they go unnoticed. If she doesn't go to a doctor, or if a doctor isn't looking for syphilis, it may never be detected. You see, the secondary symptoms, like the primary chancre, also will disappear even without treatment.
Well, you'd find it for sure when you had a blood test before you got married. They'd discover it there.
Now, that would be a lovely wedding present for a girl, to discover that she had syphilis a few days before the wedding. And in some states, people can get married even without a blood test. But suppose she had undetected syphilis, inactive in the latent stages. She might go for years thinking that she's all right. Then, before she knows what's happening to her, she goes insane or becomes a hopeless cripple. Here's something else, Don. Congenital syphilis. Look at this baby. Its mother infected it before it was born because she had syphilis and didn't get treated. Now, you say there is no other girl, Don. But if you're lying to protect a girl, just consider what it might cost her.
But she might not even have it.
You can't take that risk. Only a doctor can tell you for sure.
She's a nice girl, Doctor. I don't want her to have to go through all this if she doesn't have to.
All right, Don. It's your decision. But if you're the young man I think you are, you'll bring that girl in to see me.
I have to think about it, Doctor. I've got to have time to think about it. She might not even have it.
Only a doctor can tell. You can't take that risk.
I may have given Betty syphilis. Syphilis.
She'll never know until it's too late. She goes insane or becomes a hopeless cripple. Now, there's something I want to tell both of you. Now, what's happened is past. You both have the disease, and you will both have to be treated. Now, you took a risk by doing something that society condemns. Perhaps you didn't realize some of the penalties involved.
Betty, I didn't...
Betty, I know that you blame Don, but you should thank him for one thing.
Which thing, Doctor? Shall I thank him for giving it to me? For adding me to his list of girls? Just what do I thank him for?
For God's sakes, Betty, I didn't mean to do this to you. I didn't...
What is it, Doctor? What do I thank Don for?
Just be thankful he brought you in the first place. And be thankful he brought you before it was too late. Now, we've caught this thing in time. We can take care of it. You and Don are both going to be all right.
You may be right, Doctor. But right now, I'd rather be dead.
I know. But you're thinking only of this moment. Tomorrow, you'd rather be cured.
How to succeed in business, or with brunettes, or blondes. They're all important missions, wouldn't you agree? Well, here's one way to tackle the brunette problem. See what you think. First of all, be late. That'll show her you're a busy, important person, that you're not too interested in her. Play hard to get. After all, you're worth waiting for. This will make a great first impression. Then, laugh it off. Apologize? Oh, come on, don't be a square. Okay, now the topper. Show her what a sense of humor you have by holding her coat just a little bit too high. That's right. Next, be masterful, protective. Grasp her arm firmly and steer her down those steps to the car. She can see that you're the aggressive masculine type. What are you doing? Opening the door? You'll spoil your image. Oh, that's better. Sure, treat her as an equal. Women like that. Besides, if you're late, there's no sense wasting time on things she can do for herself. Let's face it, sometimes there's just not enough time for good manners, right? Doors afford a continued supply of chances to make an impression on your companion. Don't pass one up. It's always good for a laugh and an opportunity to show off your leadership qualities. How? By leading the way, going first, naturally. That's the boy. Keep leading the way. Good naval officers always lead their men, or their women in this case. When you get to your table, sit down immediately. Shows you're relaxed. Help with her coat. Well, you helped her on with it. Besides, it's her coat. She should have checked it anyway. Oh, yes. Make sure you're seated so you can see what's going on, too. Makes for a much more interesting evening. Now, here's perfect opportunity to demonstrate your independence. Remain seated. After all, it's not during working hours, and you are doing him a favor by presenting your date to him. On the other hand, she should be impressed by meeting a senior officer. No question about it. This young lady will be grateful for such a lovely evening with a charming person like you. That's one approach to the problem of how to succeed with brunettes. Suppose we consider another way and see what you think. How about starting by being on time? Not just for a date, but for any social engagement or business appointment. This indicates you are a dependable, businesslike person, that the appointment means something to you. And let's face it, a good-looking girl isn't going to wait around too long for anybody. Too many young men on the prowl. Make it easy for her to slip into her coat. Hold it at the right height. That's being thoughtful. Watch the hair. If you muss it, you're going to lose points. No, you don't grab her arm. You offer assistance. If she needs it or wants it, she'll take your hand, or perhaps your arm. But once the need for assistance is past, she'll give it back to you. So don't be surprised. Yes, doors do offer an excellent chance to make a good impression. It's a way to show your respect for ladies, or your seniors, for that matter. Thoughtfulness, making things easier for someone else. This is at the heart of good manners, and in the heart of every gentleman. Besides, it's the way to succeed with brunettes. Ladies first. It's an old saying, but a good one 90% of the time. Of course, if you're entering a restaurant or something comparable and there's no maitre d' or hostess to lead you to a table, then you would lead the way and select a table. She'll expect you to help her off with her coat and arrange it over the back of her chair so it's not all over the floor. No, she shouldn't have checked it. It is common practice for a lady to wear her coat to the table. Although if she indicates a preference for checking it, that's fine too. There. She has an excellent view of the room. Good thinking. You want her to have a good time, and being able to see what's going on will be half of the fun. If you have a visitor, and you probably will when you have a companion like that, stand to show your respect for a senior or a lady. This isn't just military etiquette, it's being a gentleman. And you present a man, even if it's the Admiral himself, to a lady. Respect again. It's his pleasure to meet her. In this case, there isn't much doubt about it. Check the menu with your date. And if you have any knowledge about the specialties of the house or know particularly good dishes, let her in on it. But once you have both decided, you do the ordering. Well, that's another approach to how to succeed with brunettes. Looks like a winner, wouldn't you say? Let's take another typical situation. Going to the theater. You know, there seems to be something wrong here. Ah, that's it. He's walking on the wrong side. Wonder what his next move will be. A taxi. That means a door. And that means... Yes, sir, this fellow's a born leader. One thing you can say, he's consistent, isn't he? Wait a minute. What's happening here? The girl out first? Well, I guess he boxed himself in by getting into the taxi first. Too bad, but he'll make it up. That's right. Pick the seats you want. Whoop. Pardon me, sir. Sorry about that. Now, to settle down and enjoy the movie. Nothing like a little snack to add to the fun. And your neighbors will love you. What do you say we go through this situation again? The right way, the way that's successful with brunettes. That's more like it. You walk on the curb side at all times, or on her left. And when you part company or meet a lady, a salute is the proper greeting or farewell. It's the same thing as tipping your hat when you're in civilian clothes. Believe me, the brunette is impressed. That's right. Ladies first. It's a good rule most of the time, and logical if you consider that the reason is to make things easier for the lady. Now, here's one of those situations where the lady doesn't go first. The reason you go first is to make things easier for her, to open the door and assist her out of the automobile. It makes sense, just as most gentlemanly traditions do. Right. It's her decision on where to sit, not yours. If you want to make a good impression, be considerate of the other person. Adjust your preferences to hers. And if you feel you must nibble on something during the show, at least do it quietly, out of consideration for your neighbors. Well, you're squared away on how to succeed in restaurants and theaters. Let's take another situation. A small gathering in a home or officers' club. Uh-oh, I have a feeling we're going to see anything but the right way to do things. Anyway, the necessity for making and acknowledging introductions occurs frequently. It should be done correctly, but I wouldn't bet on it in this case.
Mrs. Rohr, I'd like you to meet Mary Jackson and Midshipman Williams.
Perfect introduction. Man presented to lady. Looks as though he's going to wring her hand off, doesn't it? And who knows whether she wanted to shake hands or not. Of course, she had no choice. His hand was out quicker than a waiter's in a nightclub.
Oh, hello there. I'd like for these good-looking women to meet you. Mary, this is Mr. Prenn. Mr. Prenn, this is Mary.
How do you do, Mr.
Good evening, Mary. What? Oh, Mrs. Childs, Mrs. Rohr, I'd like to have you shake hands with the commander. Mrs. Childs, Mrs. Rohr.
It's almost unbelievable, isn't it? This young man puts bad manners back to back. First, he calls a senior officer Mr. instead of by his rank. He still doesn't get on his feet, and he presents the ladies to the commander instead of vice versa. And I do believe he was going to ignore the two ladies completely if it hadn't been for the commander. Well, we'd better run through the whole thing again, the right way, because you do want to be successful with those brunettes, right?
I have 3 children.
3 children?
Oh, how old are they? 22, 19. Mrs. Rohr, I'd like you to meet Mary Jackson and Midshipman Brown.
How do you do, Mary? How do you do, Mrs. Rohr?
How do you do?
Jack is in your husband's battalion.
Oh, another...
Oh, good evening, Commander.
Good evening.
Mrs. Childs, Mrs. Rohrs, Miss Jackson, this is Commander Prenn.
How do you do? Meet you.
I believe he was aboard the Constellation when your husband was, Mrs. Childs.
That's how you succeed in being a gentleman and impress brunettes. Wait until a lady offers her hand. Then shake it briefly, firm but not crushing. You get on your feet for a lady, or your senior in rank or age. As a matter of fact, it's good manners to acknowledge an introduction to anybody by rising. Perfect. The senior officer addressed by his rank. You're on your feet, and the man is presented to the ladies. A good way to remember this is to mention the names of the ladies or senior officers first in the introduction. In the case of introducing one person to a group, just follow a simple practice. The single person is introduced to the group. If this group had been larger, you would have said, "This is Commander Prenn," then ticked off the names of each member of the group.
Miss Heffron. Mrs. Kaufman, may I present Miss Heffron?
Miss Heffron, how nice to have you with us tonight.
How are you this evening?
All right, let's consider a more formal situation, the receiving line. It looks as though we're going to get a lesson in how not to succeed in being a gentleman. Let's see how it goes.
Hi, I'm Charlie Williams. How you doing?
Mrs. Kaufman, may I present Midshipman Williams?
Mrs. Kaufman, really a nice party. Glad you invited us.
Midshipman Williams.
Oh, hello there, Admiral. How are you? Nice party.
See you.
Present Miss Jackson.
Oh, say, weren't you on the Salem, if my memory serves me correctly, during the Korean War?
He's making points with the Admiral, though. But what about the girl? He went through the line without even thinking about her. She may as well have come alone. I wouldn't give him much hope for any success with her. Other than that, what do you think about the rest of his behavior? More important still, how do you think those people feel? Let's take this situation again, the right way. You'll note that the young lady does not hold your arm. That is correct. And you walk on her left. As you near the line, allow her to move ahead. No handshaking with the aide or escort. However, the first person in line may be the host or hostess at times. So if the hand is offered, take it, of course. That's a very simple rule. Just wait until the other person offers to shake hands.
Miss Jackson?
Mrs. Kaufman, may I present Miss Jackson?
Miss Jackson, how nice to have you with us tonight. Mrs. Jackson.
Nice to see you, Miss Jackson. Midshipman Brown.
Midshipman Brown, you look very...
This is the way to go through a receiving line. If an aide or dance chairman or some similar person heads up the line, you do not shake hands. Further, as in all handshaking situations, you wait for ladies and seniors to extend their hands before you shake hands. Your date precedes you in the line. As usual, it's ladies first. And you move through the line quickly with no stops for conversation. This just isn't the time or the place to be talkative. Your remarks may be, "How do you do, sir?" "Good evening, Admiral," or similar brief, courteous comments. After the line? Well, let's take a look. Here's a beautiful way to succeed with brunettes at a dance, at a party, wherever you may go. Leave her to shift for herself occasionally. She'll appreciate you all the more when you do return. Sure she will. When you are with her, be affectionate. Show her and the other people present just how much you care for her. She'll love it, if she happens to be an exhibitionist. And for goodness sake, don't let anything or anybody spoil your fun. Don't get stuck being a nursemaid for somebody else's date. Let him worry about her. A good way to make an impression is to hold your partner tightly while moving all over the dance floor. She'll love it. Want to dance all night with you.
Shall we rest for a while? I feel as though I'm coming down with a cold or something. Maybe you could take me home.
And then there's the right way to do things. Make sure your date has a good time, meets and dances with your friends. At other times, your place is with her. Be considerate. That's your main obligation. And if another young lady is left alone for some reason, stand by until her escort appears. Consideration for others, kindness. This is being a gentleman. Dancing. This is good duty, no question about that. Enjoy it, but be in good taste. Show respect for your date and her reputation, and she will respect you. Success with brunettes, or blondes, or just about anybody, is built upon respect. And being a gentleman is to command respect. How to succeed with brunettes? Be a gentleman.
I don't exactly know how to begin this. All I know is I sure wish you were still here and not back at that Navy base. I need you, Bill. I need to talk to you. You see, I feel sure I'm in trouble. Know what I mean? I'm 3 weeks late. Something that's never happened before. And I've thrown up the past 3 mornings. I know Mother's suspicious. She hasn't said anything yet. But I know what she's thinking. Oh, Bill, what am I going to do? I don't want to have a baby.
me.
I do, Bill. You know I do.
What's the matter then?
It's
just you really don't, huh?
Oh, Bill. I do. I really do.
Then show me.
Oh, Bill, what are we going to do? I know you don't want to get married, and I don't really either, I guess. But what else can we do? I can just hear my parents now.
No, Mary, how could you have done such a thing?
I'd like to get my hands on that boy. That's what I'd like to do.
Oh, Bill, how could you let this happen to me?
Well, you sure screwed things up. What's it doing to you? How do you feel about this? Confused and guilty too, maybe?
Yeah. I can't figure out how it happened. I thought those things are supposed to work.
Maybe you were careless. Besides, no birth control thing is absolutely foolproof. Didn't you know that?
If I didn't, I'm learning. Look, man, why don't you leave him alone? He's had a little bad luck, that's all.
Bad luck? You call getting a girl pregnant bad luck?
So maybe things didn't work out the way we expected. Could have happened to anybody.
Yes, it could. But it happened to him. And it didn't have to happen.
Yeah. I know just what you're gonna say. Bill shouldn't play around with girls.
Well, he didn't have to carry it this far. He knew when to stop.
Yeah, sure he did. You're always trying to stop him from having a good time.
Now, that's not true. I only try to stop him from doing things he'll be sorry for later. Will you look at him?
Look, will you two guys just knock it off? All you're doing is making me more confused. Hey, get with it, man. I don't know why you let yourself get so upset. Anybody can make a mistake.
Yeah. Then why do I feel so bad?
You know why. Because accident or no accident, you're not very proud of what you've done. Deep down, you know that there are values, like self-respect, honesty, decency, the commandments that everyone has to live by, that are important to you as an individual and to people you're with.
Values? That's Sunday school stuff. Come on, Bill. You're living now, and now is when you gotta live. If it feels good, do it.
Hey, waitress, bring me some more beer.
Okay, just a minute.
You still giving advice? Haven't you got him in enough trouble?
Listen to the man. You don't dig. Bill here, he's just trying to establish his own sense of identity. It's all part of a master plan. He's young, he's healthy. He wants to try things out, to live a little. Right, Bill?
I'll go along with you there. But that doesn't mean hurting yourself or other people.
I say it's his life. Let him have fun.
Yeah, but your idea of fun is full of traps and problems. Well, to go along with you, a guy really has to...
God. There's Joe. I told him I had the duty tonight.
Look at Bill over there, all by himself. I wonder what's gotten into him lately.
I don't know.
He sure isn't his usual cheerful self. Something's sure eating him up.
I'd say your idea of fun is cutting in on the kind of fun Bill really needs. Look, if he listened to you, he wouldn't control anything he did. Look at you, always with a cigarette. Is that what you want him to do? Even though it's bad for his health and could even shorten his life?
It's your job to tell him things like that. Mine is to help him have fun.
Bill, you've already seen how your fun can come back and haunt you. It's like that with all your habits.
Why don't you lay off? What he needs is to forget his problems, not be reminded of them. You and I ought to do is get good and smashed.
There you go again. Getting bombed never solved anyone's problems, and it won't solve Bill's.
Okay, Queen Jeans. You don't want any beer, we'll take care of it for you.
I'm not against Bill having a couple beers. I think it's a good way to relax. But when you start talking about getting drunk, we're right back to what I was saying before, losing control.
Hey, cut it out.
Look at that guy over there. Is that how you'd like to see Bill solve his problems?
So the guy's a little obnoxious.
To say the least.
Yeah, but he's having fun.
That's your style of fun?
I don't see anything wrong with getting a little blasted. He's not hurting anybody.
No one but himself. You know what the shrinks say.
Unfortunately, a lot of younger people start drinking because it makes them feel grown up. The fact is, to be grown up, a mature adult, you need to act responsibly. And too much alcohol makes a person act irresponsibly. Of course, many people today use alcohol occasionally, having one or two social drinks with friends. There's really nothing wrong with that. The trouble comes when social drinking changes into drinking as an attempt to escape from the problems of everyday life. You can tell when this begins to happen. You begin to drink more frequently. You start drinking alone. You gulp your drinks. You sneak drinks. You drink early in the day. You begin to lose time on the job. You experience periods of temporary amnesia. You lose control of your behavior. You say things you have previously suppressed. You behave differently. You may finally lose consciousness. When liquor is repeatedly used to this extent, there's little doubt that the individual is sick. He's become an alcoholic.
Self-control. That's the way to do it.
Okay. I'm not completely stupid, you know. Well, I might smoke a little and have a beer or two, but, well, that's it. As for drugs, well, forget it. As if I don't have enough of a problem already. No thanks to you.
I keep telling you, man, it was an accident. An accident. Why should it happen again?
You're right, it won't. If Bill uses a little self-control with girls. You're so blinded by a liberal philosophy of life. You don't see how the things a person does today affects what he'll be tomorrow. Things that can affect his whole future. His education, a good job, even a marriage.
Live now. Tomorrow will take care of itself. That's my motto.
Sure, that sounds fine, but it's how you live that counts. A person has to live with himself first. If Bill isn't satisfied with what he is, or what he does, then what is he really living for?
Nothing but fun, brother. Got it? Fun. That's what he has to live for.
No wonder I'm so screwed up, having to listen to you two guys fighting all the time. I'm gonna go talk to someone who can help straighten things out for me.
It's no wonder you're confused, Bill. It's a confusing world we live in. Day and night, we're bombarded with reminders of sex, liquor, smoking, even drugs. it all gets pretty unreal. You know, Bill, it's easy for young people to get lost in this jungle that surrounds all of us. But, Bill, you have to recognize that it's all a big sell. Life isn't like that. And deep inside, son, you know it. Now, look, it's quite normal to question how you want to respond to all this and what kind of life you want for yourself. All young men do.
Yeah. But most of them haven't gotten themselves in a bind like I have.
No, but they could. They have the same things working inside of them just as strong as those inside of you. Only most of them have learned to control it better than you have.
Believe it or not, Chaplain, this was the first time I ever had a girl.
Well, it only takes once.
But it just doesn't seem fair. I mean, everyone else is messing around.
Everyone? Out having a great big orgy?
Well, yeah. Just listen to the guys in the barracks talk.
Well, big mouths are the last ones to believe.
Yeah. But all I know is, when I go and try and find out what it's like, well, look what happens. The first time, can you beat that?
So have you learned anything?
Yeah. But I didn't want to get Mary pregnant. But what's a guy supposed to do for sex? Well, if he doesn't get it with a girl he likes, well, either he goes out and looks for a pickup or a prostitute or does something like...
Like masturbate?
Yeah.
Well, that's not the answer, and you know it. Masturbation can't hurt you physically or make you insane or anything like that. It's just not what I'd call a completely satisfactory sexual experience.
Yeah, but what's a guy supposed to do?
Look, there's no one answer. There's no one style of behavior that'll suit everyone. But before you decide, get all the facts. Right now, you're in the prime of your life. You're seeking independence from your parents. You're physically and sexually mature. But you're not ready for marriage. You have your Navy service to think of and perhaps more education later on. A career to plan for. At the same time, there are always sexual and other influences that need to be controlled. There are lots of things to help you control them. You can pitch in and do especially good work in your job. You can take part in sports and other physical activities. You can develop whatever creative talents or interests you might have. And you can enjoy girls without going all the way. Now, will it be activities like these that help build your self-respect? Or will it be ones that tend to degrade you? The decision is yours. You can let yourself drink too much, or ruin your lungs, or get yourself hooked on drugs, or let your natural feelings about sex develop unnaturally, or be turned to women who will give you satisfaction for a price. You can do all those things if you're willing to pay the price of possible damage to your health or to your own self-respect. Here's where a physical danger enters the picture. VD. Whores, rumors and pickups are easy to come by and can just as easily infect you and leave you with a different set of problems. Unless thoroughly treated, VD can cause serious damage to your body. It can make a simple act like urinating an excruciating experience, and unless completely controlled, can eventually lead to sterility, or even crippling, blindness, heart disease, insanity. And you can pass it on to another girl. The girl you marry, for instance, and give her the same problem, but worse, because it's harder to find and cure.
You and the doctor sure make a good case for playing it cool, Chaplain.
There's an even stronger case, Bill, and you've made it yourself with Mary.
Yeah, but I don't like to think about it.
You're gonna have to think about it. It's bad enough that your own future is at stake, but look what you've done to her life. Can you imagine what she must be going through?
But, Mother, I'm sure Bill will marry me if I ask him to.
Oh, that's all we need is someone like that for a son-in-law.
Hey, is marriage what you really want, Mary? What about your plans to finish school?
The only thing is, I'm not sure if he really loves me.
Loves you? How could he love you? Only had 3 dates with you. 3 dates? Oh, brother.
Love really takes getting to know one another, honey.
You can say that again.
And you and Bill just haven't had that chance. It may come in time, but marriage is no place to experiment.
Don't you know that half the teenage marriages end up in divorce? And you want to know why? Because you kids get out there and start fooling around, and you end up having to get married. And it's wrong from the start. I don't know what's gotten into these kids today. I wish I could...
You have to decide, honey. Your father and I can only help you with it.
What do you want me to do?
Well, I don't see how you can have it here.
Your father has a point, Mary. And don't you think it would be less embarrassing for you? I've asked around, and I found a place that can help us. We'll take you there just as soon as the baby starts to show. And you can stay there until it's born.
I don't want to go to a home for unwed mothers.
But, honey, they take care of everything. They even see that the baby's put up for adoption, and you never even have to see it if you don't want to.
Oh, Mother, I'm so ashamed.
It's usually very lonely for the girls in a home like this, Bill. Awfully lonely.
Good Lord.
You can marry her.
I don't want to get married, Chaplain. Well, I'm not ready to get married. And if I don't, and Mary decides to keep the baby, can they make me support both her and the baby?
Oh, yes. At least the child. Until it's 21.
Oh, boy, whichever way I turn, it'll sure mess up my plans for more schooling. You know, Chaplain, I kind of like Mary. With a little more time, I might have gotten serious.
Well, what you did when you dated her was pretty serious.
But she was wearing this bikini, and I just couldn't help myself.
Bill, every act that you perform, everything that you do, accumulates one upon another to make you what you are, to make you what you will be. Now, you can choose between actions that you're proud of and ones that you're not. And the same holds true with dating. Now, self-control is just as important in dating as it is with everything else. It's even more important because somebody else's life is involved. Of course, when you date, you should never forget that as a male, you have a basically aggressive instinct. You're built to pursue the female. And the question is, how far do you go? Should you let go to the animal urge for conquest? To go all the way? Or do you recognize that you have to control things before they get to the point where they can't be stopped? And there is that point. You have to realize, too, that girls also have sex drives. A girl may want to be attracted to you, but She may not realize how much the way she dresses and behaves excites you sexually. And she's not as easily aroused. And she usually doesn't think of sex in terms of a one-night stand. She thinks in terms of a longer relationship with tenderness, affection, and love. If you feed her emotional needs without any serious intent, you can take advantage of her. But you can't do it without feeling a sense of guilt, because you've deceived her. Really, dating is an important and a very natural relationship between unmarried men and women, basic to the human biological urge to look for a mate. And it's the best way to meet different kinds of girls and to evaluate them as possible mates and let them evaluate you. Now, dating different girls is just the first step. Later on, you court one girl, then marriage and children, and raising them in a family environment. This is the road that can lead you to an emotional and physical relationship that can endure for years and years. It's what most men strive for. But it can all be shattered in one single action. In one single moment.
I thought you told me you loved me.
I do, Bill. You know I do.
What's the matter then?
It's just
you really don't, huh?
Bill, I do. I really do.
Then show me.
This is the time and place of medical science having absolute cures for certain diseases. Absolute cures. One of the more dramatic examples of this is the drastic reduction of the occurrence of polio by the Salk vaccine. Two other diseases for which there are absolute cures are syphilis and gonorrhea. But these two diseases remain with us needlessly and to an alarming degree. An obvious reason for this is the highly personal aspect of venereal disease and the consequent reluctance of many people to seek diagnosis and treatment as soon as they suspect the slightest possibility of having it. Yes, the cure is here, and it can be achieved as a private matter between patient and doctor. It wasn't long ago when things were different. For minors, consent of parents had to be obtained before treatment could begin. It was back in the late summer of '63 when I started my last year of high school. I know that what happened then alerted me to a new awareness of medicine. How people could be ill without showing it, and without others knowing it. It surely helped influence me in my decision to learn more about the science of medicine. Let's take a look at summer of '63. That's I in the middle.
Now, why can't I do that on the court?
You're just not the athletic type, I guess.
She's my type, Bill.
Each to his own.
Come on, last one of Palm Desert buys the beer.
kiss.
Okay. Judy?
Yeah?
I think it's important to live life while you can still enjoy it.
Yeah, I know. You know, my folks always postpone the things they want till it's too late. You know, Mom's always wanted to go to Europe, but Dad says I'll have to wait till I grow up. Well, they'll wait, I'll grow up, and they'll never go.
You have to make decisions and stick to them. If you don't, you never get any place. Well, I've come to a decision.
What's that?
Well, if I go away for 4 years, something might happen to you.
Well, what do you mean?
You might get tired of waiting.
Oh, now you know better than that.
Well, it's easy to say, but 4 years is a long time. You could find somebody else.
I wouldn't.
No, I don't want to take the chance.
Well, what are you trying to say?
Why couldn't we get married this summer? I told you I got a good job at Luke's where we could turn into something.
But I promised Mom I'd have a church wedding.
So, by the middle of summer, I'd have enough saved up to buy some furniture and rent an apartment.
Yes, Jim and Judy really got along. And I had eyes for Kathy, and, well, she had eyes for Jim.
Come on. The drinks are on me.
Well, sorry I can't get you a beer, but what do you kids have?
Cherry Coke. Root beer.
Yeah, I'll have the same.
Oh, isn't that domestic?
Oh, go on, beat it before I clubber you.
I haven't seen you around much lately.
Oh, we've been busy.
We? Mm-hmm. We're getting married right after graduation. Oh.
Yep, she finally proposed.
Oh, Jim.
Well, all my life I've been waiting for some pretty girl to propose.
Should have told me. Wait till you hear the big news, Monk.
Oh, will I be pleased?
I think so.
Well?
They're getting married.
Hey, why don't we have a last gala weekend celebrating your bachelorhood? Let's dig out of this town.
You know, I'll be glad when you do get your wheels back.
You think I won't? No kidding. Let's just take off and we'll go south.
Well, where to?
Seaview?
I haven't got that kind of money.
That is no problem. You pay me later.
Now, where'd you get that kind of bread?
My mother felt sorry for me. What do you say?
So we went out for some action. Just fun. Certainly no harm intended.
Well, what do we do now? Well, let's have a look-see. Come on, Jim. Hey, look. Monk finally got his wheels back.
Please do not converse with the operator when the bus is in motion. Boiling. Let's get a brew, huh?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Let's go, Jim.
Come on,
Let's go.
Jim.
Of course, there were drinks and more drinks. And we hadn't started out looking for girls. But there happened to be these two hanging around that club.
You've never had a girl before.
Sure I have.
I could make you happy.
Oh, man, what a night. Oh, that's what I call living. Pretty stupid if you ask me. Well, what's with you? I don't know. It just didn't seem right. Get him?
I know what he means. Something like that shouldn't... Well, it was like animals.
Well, so what do you want?
Well, I just think it ought to mean more, that's all.
Did you miss me?
You know it.
Oh, we had a dull weekend. Most of the time, Dad tried to talk me out of getting married.
Oh, any success?
No, not much.
Well, that's good.
What'd you do?
Nothing much.
Well,
Well, what?
I understand you're quite the expert on Cooley-Co.
Who said?
Good, tell him. Then maybe they'll appreciate us.
Shut up, monk.
Hey, now, this is getting interesting. Just where were you two lovers?
Seaview? Ooh, did we have a ball?
You didn't say anything about Seaview.
Hey, tell her about Luana.
I think you said enough, Mike.
What about Luana?
Just a girl we met, that's all. And today he is a man. We are all men.
Leave me alone.
It wasn't like you think.
I thought you loved me.
Oh, I do, Judy. It just happened to were a gang of us.
I didn't even want to hear about it.
Oh, it didn't mean anything, honest. You gotta understand, Judy. I'm sorry. But it happened. I can't change it now. You want me to take you home?
Can't be that bad.
Oh, hi, Kathy.
Oh, it was Monk's fault. He and his big mouth.
She'd have found out sooner or later.
Well, it's still too bad it had to spoil your beach party.
She just won't understand. It didn't mean anything.
I understand.
Sometimes you have to let off steam.
I know. Hey, let's get another beer and take a walk, huh?
No, I've had enough.
Oh, come on. One more won't hurt you. Here. Come on, walk will do you some good.
How's Judy?
She's always out.
Dames.
There's something else.
What's that?
About a week ago, I noticed this small sore. You suppose I could have picked up something from Awana?
Oh, you really are in a sweat. You break training, get a pimple, and panic.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Jim, I've been watching you since the meet. What's the trouble?
Sorry about that.
Forget it. That isn't what I wanted to talk to you about. Are you worried about something?
I guess so.
You having trouble with your studies?
Oh, no, sir.
Can't be girl trouble.
No, sir.
Then what is it?
Maybe nothing.
Like to tell me about it?
Well, I gotta talk to somebody.
Shoot.
We went down to Seaview several weeks ago, you know, a gang. And we had a few beers and we caught a show. And then on the way home, we stopped at this little bar. And it turned out to be more than a bar. And we had a few drinks and made us feel big.
I think I can guess the rest. Now, Jim, I'm not going to say it was stupid. I guess you know that.
Yes, sir.
So you think maybe you picked up something, huh?
I don't know.
Any symptoms?
Yeah, I have this little sore. It won't heal.
Jim, it could be nothing. But we better not take a chance. I know a doctor over at the clinic. Suppose we take you over there and let him have a look at you, huh?
Okay.
You have syphilis, Jim.
I couldn't.
I'm sorry. Do you know where you contracted it?
I'm not sure.
Be honest, Jim. You don't get syphilis from spoons, dirty glasses, or toilet seats. You get it during sexual intercourse with an infected woman.
I guess I got it at Seaview. From a prostitute.
I see. Have you had intercourse with any other girl since then?
No, sir.
You're sure?
Yes, sir.
It's important, Jim. Our biggest problem in controlling venereal disease is breaking the chain. If we can contact the people who've been exposed to it, well, we can keep it from spreading. Otherwise, there's no telling how many people will become infected.
There was nobody else.
Well, you're lucky, Jim.
How's that?
Well, if you'd lived 100 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to help you. Even as short a time as 20 years ago, the cure would have been prolonged and painful. But now, thanks to modern medicine and the fact that we caught your case early, we'll be able to lick it before it does any real damage.
Well, what do I have to do?
Well, first off, we'll have to get your parents' consent.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, the doctor wasn't kidding. But as we said, today, it can be a confidential matter between patient and doctor. No one else need know.
Jim, you have to make up your mind it's something you have to do. You don't have any choice.
No, I guess not.
Come on. Let's do it now. Your parents ought to be home.
Oh, Jim, one more thing. After you've had a chance to think about the picture, if there's anything you want to tell me, just call. You can be sure everything will be kept completely confidential.
I told you there was nobody.
See you for your first treatment.
Hey, let's hit it to the pit tonight, huh?
Pick me up, Jim.
I can't make it, Kathy.
Why not?
I just can't.
Well, isn't that just like a man? Nice to them and they step all over you. Well, how about you, lover?
Oh, but Natch.
Come on, I'm late to class.
Kathy, you're something else.
So?
So I dig you, that's what.
Thanks.
Well, a few more shots and you'll be well on your way to recovery.
Doc, can a person have syphilis and not know it?
Oh, yes. Sometimes the signs are hidden, or they can be so slight they can go undetected for years. We were lucky. We caught yours early.
Can a person really die from syphilis?
Well, you saw the films, Jim.
Yeah, I know. I've been thinking about it. Well, I told you there wasn't anyone else. Well, there was.
I thought so, Jim.
I went with this girl for a few weeks, and I exposed her, and now she's going with my buddy.
And you could have prevented that.
I know.
Well, the important thing is, now we know. Come on into the office. You can give me the details.
They won't have to know I told you.
Oh, no, Jim. We're not here to pass moral judgment. We're here to stamp out VD. You have my word. They'll never know.
Hi.
Hi, Judy. Is that all you're eating for lunch?
Mm-hmm. How have you been?
Okay.
You look good.
You too.
Well, I gotta go.
Hey, wait a minute. Look, I just wanted to say...
Yes?
Well, we're acting kind of stupid.
Yeah, I know.
Can I see you?
Call me. Hello? Hi. 15 minutes? Great. Well, where are you going? Out. And I could go to Wisconsin, too, and we can get married during Christmas vacation, and then when we get back mid-year, we'll get a small apartment, and we could work part-time. Oh, I just know I just know it can work.
Are you finished?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, I just didn't want to interrupt anything.
Oh, golly, Jim.
It had a happy ending, but that's how it happened. It happened to Jim, it happened to Kathy, and it happened to me in the summer of '63.